Good Monday morning. And I'm so glad you are here this morning. Did you see Friday's show? Last Friday's? I hope you did. But if you did not, I announced that starting today, we're going on an adventure, you could say. And that is, we are going to read through the Purpose Driven Life book together. And I don't know if you have a copy. This is, I'm having a hard time getting it on the screen, but Purpose Driven Life and by Rick Warren. It's 40 days. And if you have a copy, you might dig it out. If not, we're selling it at church. So I hope you'll reread it again. I'll bet many of you have already read it. I had to dig through my books to find my copy from long ago. It's been about 10 years since I read the book. And of course, there's a whole lot of people that have never read it, even though it now has sold over 50 million copies. Can you imagine? And then how many people read the one book when it went home? I don't know. Has it influenced 100 million? Who knows? Only the Lord knows for sure. But you know what? I want it to again influence my life and help me focus. Now, each day we're going to do one chapter a day. They're only typically 3 or 4 pages long. Maybe you've read it, maybe you have not, but I'm just going to give my favorite impressions or the points that made the most sense to me every day. You know what the book is really about? It's called The Purpose Driven Life, but the subtitle is, What on Earth Am I Here For? And isn't that, even here in chapter 1 that we're going to talk about today, that's why we're doing this. We need to have purpose in life. When we get up each morning, we need to know why. Why have you, Lord, still left me on earth? What do you have for me? It seems like I'm not doing much. The reason sometimes is that we feel that way is our perspective is all off. Because the fact is, well, let me read this first verse, Colossians, and this is our verse for the day. Colossians 1:16 in the page 1 of Purpose Driven Life says, for everything, absolutely everything, above and below, visible and invisible, everything got started in Christ and finds its purpose in Him. So life is about Jesus. It's His story. Old Testament, New Testament, our lives, if we're living them as God would want us to, it's about Christ. And that's why perhaps one of the most famous openings of any book ever written, other than the Bible again, and always when I talk about purpose, it's other than the Bible. But do you remember the first 4 words of Purpose-Driven Life? Here they are. It's not about you. It's not about you. That's not what life is about. Our culture tries to tell us that it is. But the purpose of your life is way more than just your happiness. Oh man, does that go against our culture? Your life, your purpose of your life is far greater than your happiness. And that's the first full sentence of this book. But it's not about you. Whoa. I've heard stories of quite a few people picking up this book, reading those few words, and putting it back down, never to be read again, because they thought it was a self-help book. You know, and in some ways, I think it is. Because I don't think there's anything more that will ever help you than to find your purpose and why you are here on life. It's not just being successful. Being successful and fulfilling your life purposes are completely different things. How many people have you heard about that their goal was to become rich or famous, and they work so hard to do it, and then they do it? And then what? They're often still unhappy and unfulfilled. Why? Why? I thought money would be the answer to everything. No, it's not. It's not. Having a purpose in life. And how do you find that? The only way is we have to ask God. Ask God. After all, He's the one who wrote the Bible. And I like what Rick Warren, because he compares it to the owner's manual. Because God should be the owner of our lives. And so if God has written the Bible, and that's kind of like the instructions for life, then indeed we have to get our answers from there, don't we? It's not from the world's wisdom. The world tells us completely different things. No. Ephesians 1:11 says this, and I'm reading from chapter 1 of the Purpose-Driven Life. But I want you to know that I'm just scratching the surface of, and I will be doing this every day. To get the full amount, you ought to get your copy out if you own it and read along. You can read in advance, which would be chapter 2 for tomorrow, or you can read behind. Or, like we said in the beginning, you can just listen, and I'm going to give you the summarization each day of each chapter. Ephesians 1:11 says, it's in Christ that we find out who we are and what we are living for. Long before we first heard of Christ and got our hopes up, He had His eye on us and had designs on us for glorious living. Part of the overall purpose that He is working out in everything and everyone. Rick Warren makes the strong case then that without God, life makes no sense. And isn't that the truth? Man, if we're going to die in, I don't know, 20 years, 50 years, whatever it is, and if there's no God, then poof, that's it. And given another 50 years, all your relatives and mine will either be dead too or will have forgotten about you. Isn't that futile? Oh, aren't you thankful that there is a creator God who has promised us to live forever, but we should live right now, fulfilling the purpose of why He gave you life. Why He gave you life. It's about Him, not about us. And I love how the book is going to just make that point clear and how we should live day to day. I hope you'll join us each day. And let me just close with, again, our verse for the day. Colossians 1:16 says, everything got started in Christ and finds its purpose in Him. Our purpose is in Him. God bless. We'll learn a lot more tomorrow. See you then.
Oh, come to the Father through Jesus the Son, and give Him